finally wake up in jail and say, you know what, I spent more time in jail in my adult life than free.
I'm Nikki. I am from Fredonia, is where I grew up. We grew up going to church but not having a relationship with Christ. Just knowing who he was just in a book. I came to community in 2015. It was Christmas Eve, and that's when I gave my life to Christ.
Oh, I'm Tyson. I grew up in New Jersey. Basically raised by my grandparents, very, very Baptist family there. So, um, well, you know how Baptists are. You're almost at church every day for something. So, you know, I could almost recite the Bible. Couldn't forget it if I tried to. Moved to Wisconsin in about 2013, I believe. Yeah, 2013. I moved here, and I guess did we start coming here at the same time, or to community? I mean,
I think you were like a year later.
oh, probably like a year later. It took a while for me to get it, but you know, just kept chugging along, man, and here I am.
Well, I'm a recovering addict. So, 7 years ago, I got clean, but my recovery didn't start until I asked Christ into my life, and that's when my recovery started. So that was five years ago. Um, Even though I was clean, I like there was something missing, and I could feel it. Like there was something missing, and the only way to stay clean, um, I had to have that missing piece.
Yeah, I'm also a recovering addict, alcoholic. Um, when I came to I actually came to Wisconsin to get away from drinking. Of all the states to come to come away from drinking, this is the state that I came to. But when I got here, um, jail followed me here. So 2013 to 2000, maybe 17, 18, 19, um, a whole bunch of jail time, man. So you finally wake up in jail and say, you know what, I spent more time in jail in my adult life than free. So that was almost like the wake up call, like, dude, I got to do something. So, just kept trying. Two steps forward, one step back, three steps forward, maybe another step back, and then eventually I was taking a lot of steps forward, and I'm still taking them. Not perfect, but you know, not done trying either.
When we met, we were both addicts. At that time, we were active addicts. After I got sober, Tyson actually didn't. And it was really hard for me. I accepted Christ into my life and handed everything over to him. And in his active addiction, Christ would tell me, like, to be still and know I'm God. And for me, I'm not a patient person, and I'm a control freak, so I wanted to control what he was doing, his recovery, where he was. He ended up leaving for about 6 months, the hardest 6 months of my life. And in that time, I was able to just surrender everything to God. Just absolutely everything, and throw up my hands and actually have nothing to do with him for a while. And yeah, and that verse, be still and know I'm God, just it stuck with me that whole 6 months. Yeah, when he left for that 6 months, I didn't know where he was. I didn't know who he was with. There was a time I didn't know if he was dead or alive, and I I actually prayed for him just to hit rock bottom, like the lowest point, so that he could build his life on Christ.
I was I was just going through life blind and like willingly doing it too. But after a while, it I guess the old saying goes, I guess it gets old after a while. And and it did. Started looking around and seeing like all the stuff that I'm missing out on, looking at all the crap that I'm doing. Like, wow, you have a house to go to. Like, what are you doing here? When I was gone for all that time, um, I think that there was a bit of fear to come back because there's the fear of like her saying no, you can't come back. There's the fear of okay, what am I going to do now? Um, but then kind of that fear is almost like a fuel, almost like you know what? I'll try it and see what she says. If we work it out, we do. If we don't, which I hope it doesn't come to that. But if we don't, then I'm a grown up. I gotta figure this thing out.
Yeah, when he was going to come back after that 6 months, I I had to rely on the truth of God that I had to forgive, and that was probably the hardest thing. Not knowing what he did in that 6 months, but anything that he did do, I had to forgive him. After he came back home, well, it's been 2 years since he came back home, and our relationship, like it's based on Christ now. Like praying together was the most important thing that we could do. Praying as a family, just us two praying together. Going off of scripture instead of going off our emotions. I'm a very emotional person, so I want to do things off of my emotions and, just going off of what God wants me to do, not what I want to do. Like, I want to talk a lot and I want to fix him, and I know I can't do that. I need to be silent, and I think that 6 months of him being gone taught me to be silent so that God could work. I need to get out of the way so that God could work. And now I'm just putting that in practice like the past 2 years.
I look at it as a lot of the miracles that God does do. You know, maybe not everybody, but I'd probably say about 80 to 90% of people. If their significant other leaves for 6 months, then that's it. But the fact that she stuck around, just those little changes, like it's almost like I see God as almost like that patient grandfather, kind of sits back and watches, and then tells you what you have to do, and just kind of just waits for you to do it. It's not gonna, it's not gonna do it for you, but he's just gonna wait for you to see that that's the right thing to do. So that was probably one of like the biggest things that I saw that God can do. It's like wow.
Yeah, seeing God work, just looking back and just seeing everything he did that I didn't see. A lot of times when, things go wrong, you're like, why is he doing this to me? But looking back, I needed that, and he gives us what we need, not what we want. I see Christ in him as when we disagree or have an argument, like I can feel Christ in him, knowing that he still loves me. That was a big issue in the past. Like if we got in a fight, he would take off, and that meant he didn't love me. Now I see his heart is, I don't know, like just in a different place. Like when we have a disagreement, like we're talking to fix it. We're not talking to hurt each other, which we were in the past.
I see Christ and Nikki as just the grace that she has. She wears her heart on her sleeve. Anybody that knows her can tell you that. But it's just a lot different now than what it was. Like she said in the past, had to be her way, or no way. But now, it's like a complete turnaround. Like we're actually able to have conversations. We're actually able to argue, and then the argument be over. Not argue and hold on to something for like 3 weeks until until there's a big blow up, and who knows what would happen after that. So it's not perfect, but I'll take it.
And forgiveness is such a big thing. We have to forgive each other. If we look at what we did and Christ forgave us, then we should be able to, forgive each other for what we do. Like I've always looked for like in my past and in my marriage, for a man to complete me, if it's my dad or, you know, whoever, my husband. And I just look at Christ as just my completion. Like, I love him, but he's never going to complete me. I have to look to Christ for that.
To me, I think of Christ as he's a lot of things to me. He's a brother, he's a father, a sister, a wife, a husband. Good feelings, bad feelings, just all of those combined into one thing. That I think if you just come to trust all of that, just give it a shot. Can't hurt. I know for me, like how she had said before, 2 years, 2 years I've been back, and in July will be 2 years sober, man. So I mean, those are just, 2 years sober, a driver's license, a decent job, all of those things I never would have had if I didn't just put my trust in him. So just put your trust in him, man. He'll be all right.
Yeah. I know with Nixon now, I mean...
And Nixon, too.
Yeah,
Wow.
when we first got married, we were trying to have a baby, even though it was so rocky. I don't know what we were thinking. God knew. But, after having a couple miscarriages, and those are really hard and emotional, but, God set us up for that. He needed both of us to rely on him during these miscarriages, so he set us up for those miscarriages. He knew what we needed.
Oh, yeah. We definitely wouldn't have been ready for Nixon at those point in times. Not at all.
Yeah, we can definitely look back and see how Christ worked through everything. And it's funny because in the times of the miscarriages or when he was gone, I was praying for other things. Like, I was praying that he would just walk through the door and come home, or I was praying that, this baby would survive. But looking back on it, like, God knew, he knew this is what we needed and the outcome.
Right on.
All right, let me go get the baby.
I got it.